Okay, let's go ahead and start recording.
Oh,
Well,
there's
good
Cindy.
morning, everyone. I'm sorry, did I cut you off, Pat?
No, I got a set of my things, so more than half of my face shows.
Gotcha. Well, good morning, everyone. I hope everybody had a lovely weekend. It was a nice long weekend. I took Friday off. Bree and I both took Friday off and Monday off.
Oh, sorry.
Can't complain. All right. So what's on everybody's minds as we work to close out the month of May?
Downstairs bathroom, please.
I have a couple of questions for you, Amanda.
Sure, Laura, what's up?
Um, First of all, the HPNAP,
HipNap,
are,
yep.
are we part of that?
Which agency are you again?
We're deposit.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you are. And since this will be the first time, July 1st will be the first time you guys are actually having access to this particular food grant, the
Okay.
changes aren't really going to make much sense for you. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the entire process, I do encourage you to either attend or at least watch the recording. I will be recording it just so that you
Okay.
have that
It's coming
information.
out. Is it
It's
tomorrow?
tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Okay. Let me see this. Yeah, I should be able to do that tomorrow. Okay. And then one other question. I received an email from the superintendent regarding the redistribution of food that
Oh,
there
wait,
had.
sorry, let me back up. Laura, I apologize. Actually, you're with the school.
Yes.
You do not need to attend unless you plan on being open to the public and having access to New York State dollars as opposed to food bank funding. I don't
Okay.
think it's in your like short-term plan to basically serve the general population. So I think you could be excused.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So that one is a no. Okay. So the redistribution of food, I'm not quite sure
Mm-hmm.
what this is. Is this for the mobile food pantry or is it
Yep.
for the on-site? It's for the mobile.
It's for all of it. So so Feeding America, we have an updated contract with them, and within that contract is a new stipulation. And our agency and or school food center contract has always said that you cannot share any food from your program or the mobile to any other program. It can only go to individual households. So without express permission from the food bank. So it
Okay.
could be done if Yells gave us a heads up saying, hey, I've got way too many lentils, but I know that this agency, like the, the pantry in town could use it because they distribute to a larger population. We would just give a verbal okay on that. That is no longer allowed.
Okay.
Now, if somebody has a more excess product that they want to distribute, get it out, because it's not doing anybody any good sitting on a shelf.
Right.
We would have to have a signed agreement with between us, the pantry or program that is redistributing it or sub-distributing it, and then the recipient agency that's receiving it.
Okay.
And
So let me explain what's happening right
yep.
now. And this has changed over the last year because we also have the deposit pantry who's working food bank now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when we do once a month the mobile food pantry, what happens is some of our volunteers will take the leftover food, some of it will go to the food
Mm-hmm.
pantry or the food pantry in deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're part of FBST now, does that change anything? We still have to
We would
let.
we would have to have that signed agreement. So we're working on creating a document that would be signed between us, the you as the mobile and the pantry in deposit. And that
Okay.
three-way contract is all that it is, saying like, this is, now we're compliant. But within that, it calls out food safety and specifically food safety for transportation of product, especially if it was like perishable. That's what it calls out.
Okay, so my other thing now, though, since we have the on-site food bank,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't it make sense for us to just keep it in our food bank and put it into the on-site rather than okay,
I'm
what's going
giggling.
on?
I'm giggling because the answer is yes.
Okay,
And because those are two separate contracts and two different programs, that sub-distribution contract would have to exist. So you would basically have to sign it twice or somebody. So a
okay,
representative from the
so
mobile and a representative from the school. This is where we're starting to get into some more redundancies that we just have to put it on paper so that Feeding America understands that we are fully aware of what's going on. Even though like it's not going anyplace, you're keeping it because
right.
it's the same people running the show. We
Okay,
need this
so will
paperwork.
you send me the paperwork that needs to be signed? And then I'll have to sign two of them. But here's the other issue. How do I tell the food bank that, or sorry, the food pantry right down the road that I'm sorry, we're not giving you the food anymore because we have our own food bank on site?
Do you always have leftover food from the mobile?
Pretty much. If I mean, it's not like there's a ton, but also people who are volunteering and working it and need food will take some of the leftovers home with them.
Well, to be perfectly well, if it's going home with them, that's fine because as long as they're marking that they've been served. But ideally, so what I'm actually thinking, like I've said I'm going to do like countywide ones, but now I don't know how we're going to do it. The document doesn't exist yet. I'm still in the getting all the information stage. And what might actually end up happening is that we just have a contract between you, the food pantry there in town. Is Dottie's Kitchen out in Deposit? Is that in Deposit too? Or is that in Binghamton?
I don't believe so.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Friendship Table. Friendship Table would not be able to have it because they're not a direct partner of ours, but the pantry would.
Yeah, they
School
never
Food
get it.
Center would. And then we would just have that one document. So if you wanted to keep it for the center, great. Or if you didn't think it was going to move there, you volunteers wanted to take it to the pantry, I think we'd be covered.
Okay.
But that pantry should never be relying on that product. That's just extra. They should be operating just like your school food center should be operating as normal. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
Okay. All right. So yes, that answers my questions, but in case we do give it to the food bank, then I need to sign that. And
Mhm.
if we move it to our on-site food bank, then I need to sign that as well.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I've got you down. We will be identifying who all needs to do this. So
Okay.
we'll track you down and be like, sign this.
Okay. The other thing, can you, rather than sending this information to the superintendent, can it be sent directly to me? Otherwise, she always has to be the go-between. Do I need to see her? Okay.
So
Hi. Sorry.
I don't think it was sent directly to the super. It was sent out through the Google group. So it went through the school food center Google group. Are you in that? Are you getting those communications?
Well,
I sent something today. I sent my weekly digest this morning.
yes, I got
So
that, which is why
that's
I'm
where it was.
here.
So that's how it's been
Oh, it
sent
was in
out.
there. Okay,
Yeah.
so somehow she got it before and
She's
sent it.
probably also on that email list.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I think I'm all set, and I'm very sorry, Pat, Kerm, and Free Spirit, Cindy. I'm very sorry I took all this time away from you, but I really appreciate it. Amanda, I would look at that sometimes and I'd say, what do I have to jump
Mhm.
on a Zoom and talk to Amanda about? And today it came in and I'm like, wow, I need to jump on that Zoom right now and
Mhm.
talk to Amanda. So, I
So-
appreciate you.
Absolutely. This is why we're here. And I'm going to say it to you because I think this is the first time you've been on these. What do I say, guys? No apologies needed. And I don't know if you saw in the chat, Cindy just said like she's in the same boat. So while you are unique out in the deposit area, this is impacting a lot of folks. So anytime you bring something up, this whole group here learns and I learn a little bit more. And you are always, always welcome.
Well, yes, now I'm going to keep this in mind. So, yes, I appreciate all of you so much. And I'll wait for you then, Amanda, to get that back to me because
Mhm.
Denise thought there was something that I had to sign from what was sent.
Nothing has to be signed yet. It was a form just asking where you give food to and who you get food from that isn't necessarily us. So that we could
Okay.
try to get as much information of like where's all the food moving around to so we could decide how best to go about getting these contracts signed.
Could I
Okay.
call you back? I'm in a meeting.
So, all right. Anything? Oh, Kerm's got his hand up. What's up,
Right.
Kerm?
Yeah, has anybody considered, and you probably can't do it, but has anybody considered contacting Feeding America and saying their bureaucracy is creating as many problems as the government?
Actually, I think there's been a couple of conversations happening that we have we have a shared chat platform called Yammer, and there's been some concerns around this. And actually, I just brought this up to New York State today, last week, asking for guidance from any of the food banks that are dealing with this as well. Thanks for hopping on, Laura.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm happy to share your concerns back with our team and be like, hey, how much can we kind of share back to Feeding America? The bureaucracy is annoying, yes. And also, this is so much more work. Like I don't know how much time I've spent on this. And then all of you doing all of filling out the forms and just the stress and worry about it. But at the end of the day, we now have something in writing that confirms and reaffirms that our product is only going to approved sources and you're only receiving food from approved sources for distribution. And it's really highlighting that food safety aspect. And I think that's really what they were trying to get at is to do as much as they can to ensure that the food safety is being followed. And yeah, because really the bulk of what they shared was around transportation of time and temperature controlled products. So I think something might have happened, but that was really their stress is making sure that if you're moving product and it is perishable, how are you ensuring that it is staying at the correct temperature while you're transporting it for another agency to distribute?
Yeah, they just don't give anybody any credit for any common sense. And it really is frustrating because somebody makes a mistake and then a whole
Everybody
thing
pays
is
for it.
created around it,
Mhm.
and everybody else has to,
Kind of, yeah.
Anyway,
Absolutely. It is.
pet peeve.
Well, so hopefully we will take as much lift off of your plate. So you won't be required to do anything until we say, put your Herbie Hancock on this.
Okay. But at these mobile food pantries, are they keeping track of the temperature and the amount of time that those items are out on the table? When does the clock start? And are those
Really good
products still going to
questions.
be good?
But if you
Uh,
go by the safety thing, it says you have, even for something like milk, there's a time given and it pretty much covers our entire pantry. What we do with milk is we bring out X number and when they're gone, we go get the next one. But
mhm. Yes. And to your question, Cindy,
But the trucks, you're right.
Mhm.
There's no refrigeration on the trucks at all. And
our
so
our trucks are refrigerated trucks.
are they?
They're reefer trucks.
not the ones that deliver to us.
Which delivered us.
I will take that back to our team and be like, hey, we got some concerns here.
Ours are refrigerated. It's really cold in there.
Well, I've never been actually in the truck, but that doesn't look like there's, I mean, it just looks like a truck. I don't see any special thing.
Yeah,
No refrigeration unit on the truck, no.
all right. So these are good points to bring back. And to your point, Kerm, yes, there is you and Cindy. Our drivers are responsible. And there's only a couple of locations where we actually drop off the product and leave that we're not actually there during distribution. But I'm going to be working with our lead MFP driver to determine where any excess food goes from those sites and what the
Well-
process is in for time and temp.
We haven't done it in quite a while now, but when Benetton had a truck that came in there once a month, and when they got all done and everybody left, all that food came back to our pantry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been since pre-COVID we did that,
Yeah.
but that was it all came back to our pantry.
And that's really how most of these work, especially for the mobiles. They're already going to a food bank partner. There's a couple that they're like going to the fire department that doesn't necessarily work with us directly as a pantry. So each case is very unique, which is why it's taking so long to get all the information and to determine what is the best way to move forward with this without putting any additional heavy lift on any of you. And for some folks, it could be like 15 different contracts. Do we do 15 different contracts or do we do one for the county and just 15 different people sign it? So for some folks, I think that's where we're leaning, but for others like deposit, they're never going to work with anybody else. So it makes more sense just to keep it within their town. But we got to figure out who gets what. So hopefully that's going to be my June is figuring all that out.
I guess my issue with that is we don't, I mean, we get stuff in and most of it is stuff that we can either save for another week or we have stuff that's got to be used. And who am I going to give it to? I mean, we've been using the Methodist Church because a lot of it comes in such bulk sizes that even a family of 10 could not use it. And they do because of their open heart dinner. So this really creates an issue because you're saying only partners. So do we dump this food?
You'd find another avenue. Now, that means another pantry or a different meal that is working directly with us. That Methodist Church, they can reach out and inquire about becoming a partner and go those steps. That would put them under our umbrella.
You know why I found out they don't? Because there are times when they charge for their meal.
Okay.
There's a couple of times a year, like their big Thanksgiving, they put a set rate on it. Any other time it's free will donation, but it's publicized as free will donation. And then sometime in the spring they have a meal that is a set dollar amount. And so I think that's the problem.
And it gets complicated because if it's donated product, there can be no charge for donated product at all. Exactly. If it's TFET product, there can be no charge for TFET product. And also we don't have oversight of the food safety aspect. We haven't seen that kitchen. We don't know how food is stored. And that's food bank product that is coming from one of our sources that we don't have oversight of, which is why it has to be a food bank partner.
That's why it's a conundrum.
Oh no, this isn't going to make everybody happy. This is making nobody happy, let's be honest. But it is trying to put as many things in place for food safety and keeping us in compliance with our federal contracts and the use of donated product and all of these things.
So
basically
we're going to need a contract with the children's farmers market this summer because whatever's left there comes back to our pantry as well.
You know it. Yes.
But are they a partner of the food bank? Oh, good.
They're one of our programs. Yes. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, who all are you getting food from? and why I think
Can-
maybe for some
can-
folks, like the county would work.
Will one contract do it for the summer?
So
Or
here's
do
the
we
thing.
have to
with
do
it.
it one for every time they come?
So what I'm looking for is this will roll out and hopefully, fingers crossed, roll out in July. You're going to keep operating and getting leftover food, even if you haven't signed it yet.
Wait a
Okay,
minute,
But
I have a
my
question. Go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say, my plan is to have it continually rolling and automatically renewing each year, unless something changes from Feeding America that we have to change language in the contract. It's just an addendum, but I'd like it to automatically renew so you guys don't have to get that signed every time and every
Okay.
year.
Here's a question. What about like friendship donations?
Mhm.
Do they have to get one signed with us?
That
We've
is
been
still
going to
under.
them for years.
I know,
mean,
I know. So
and we can't survive without that food.
no, oh, absolutely not. So are you
but they're
giving
not
them
a partner, are
food?
they?
Are you giving
What's
them
that?
food though, Pat?
So they're not a partner.
Giving who
Not-
food?
Friendship donation or
No.
are you just receiving? Don't worry about it if you're just receiving product from them. That's
Okay,
fine.
because that would take in all the farmers that bring stuff in.
Yeah, no, that's
donated
fine.
product. Okay,
But if you were to give them food, that would be a whole other thing that we would have to, well, what does this actually mean?
so it's not
Yeah.
that if we're recipients, it's okay.
For the
if
most
people
part,
donate, but it's the stuff we might want to give
Mhm.
somebody else. Okay,
exactly.
okay, thank you. That clarifies it a little better.
And there's a couple of places around our network that does work like that. So there's Good Neighbors in Broome County. There's the Friendship Donation Network, and then we also have Chow in Broome County, which is why for Broome County, I'm like, there's a lot of agencies that work with meals that are not under our umbrella. But guess what? They work with Chow. So instead of giving it to that meal, that product can go straight to Chow because Chow is under our umbrella. We can work with Chow. They're a redistribution organization. It stinks that you have to throw in a middleman, but we have to do what we have to do to make sure that we're compliant. Otherwise, this could all go away.
What's the name of the program where they have a meal in Owego?
Oh, in Owego, so you're talking about the ACT community dinner?
Is that what it is?
Allied Christians of Tioga, Ruth Harder's.
Yes. If we gave the stuff to her,
Mhm.
we could do that.
Yeah. So there's a meal there. There's also Catholic Charities has a food truck coming out of Nichols.
Right.
That could be a potential option. Those are the two meals that we're currently working with in Tioga County. The other part to this is if you do receive food like this, let's say Kerm has canned corn that he just can't move and he gives it to you, Pat, you can't receive it as a donation. You can't weigh that and then submit it for like retail recovery or partner driven pounds.
Okay.
You just get it. And something else that we're adding is that the agency that is sharing has to keep a written track of where that product is going in case there's a recall.
Oh,
Because if you didn't order it from us, Pat, and Kerm did, you're not going to get the notification that it's been recalled, Pat. Kerm will get that notification that he then has to share to you. It's like that phone tree from back when we were all in kindergarten. Everybody had to call the parents.
Mhm.
But when this does happen, when we figure out all the moving pieces, and I'm being super, super optimistic that I'm going to have this thing ready to rock and roll July 1. It probably won't be ready to rock and roll, but when we do start to implement, we will have a quick webinar/info session that you guys could to all hop on. We'll walk it through, try to explain it as clearly as possible, and still leave space for questions. You know, all the good stuff.
I had an interesting meeting this morning, which Kerm, I think you're going to be invited to, with Teresa Kraus who lives at the food bank. I mean, that's where her office is, but she has been working mainly with Broome, and now she's invading Tioga County. What they're looking at is all the communities. What are you laughing about, Amanda?
You just described Teresa as invading Tioga County, and I'm here for this.
Well, she's funny. She's lots of fun.
She is
Very-
so much
very-
energy.
Yes. It's about the community coming together, not just pantries,
Yeah.
but community leaders, looking at sourcing. And eventually she wants to hit all the towns, but I sort of suggest, I'd mentioned Kerm's name in passing several times. So you'll probably be invited, Kerm. But I have a whole list of people in our community. It's going to be on the 19th of June at the fire station from 6 to 6:30. She's providing pizza and salad, and then she'll do a presentation from 6:30 to 8. And it's basically getting started, what needs to be done. Apparently it's been quite successful in Broome County. It seems that way anyways, but when she talked to the Department of Health, and she gave her a good suggestion, was to get the county legislators together, have a meeting. They're meeting on Friday the 13th, which I thought was hysterical. But she's going to present it to them just so she can get it up when communities start inviting them. Hopefully they'll come. So that's what
she's a community organizer, basically.
For food sourcing, yeah, she must work hand in hand with Kathleen. I forget what her title is.
So let me she just got a promotion, so let me actually grab her title real quick. Bree, do you know what Teresa's? Nope. Oh, hold on. I gotta find it. Let me see if I can find it here. She is the Food Council Manager. So what Broome County has is they have their coalition group of all the pantries, just like you guys have. But then they have a food council. So if we're talking, let's do it this way. Peer group was very grassroots, right? And very boots on the ground, everyday stuff. Coalition meetings are much more middle of the piece of grass. It's some higher level stuff, but still some day-to-day stuff of the operating of your pantries. Food council is grass tops. So they're dealing with other avenues. So there's policy involved. There's other stakeholders at a county community level that aren't necessarily part of your coalition. They're outside the realm of your coalition. So they're up here at the top. There's a lot more advocacy going on and actual movement to implement change in the food systems. So this is Teresa Kraus, and she does it amazingly. And I just shared the your comment about her invading. She just messaged back. She's like, it is exciting. So she has a lot of energy. She's a little dynamo, and I'm really excited and stoked that she's going to start working with you all in Tioga County. So.
That's at 6 o'clock, you said, Pat?
Yes. But we're the first group she's going to do, but she intends to go to every community.
The sauce. Yeah, so cool things happening there. I think Cindy, you're probably familiar with Teresa from Broome County and the food
she's
council
been
out there.
really helpful, and just attending the meetings, you meet all sorts of different people outside the food pantries, and it's just been great to share information. And we actually received a $2,000 donation because of somebody I met at one of those meetings. So there you go.
That's great.
It's all about the networking, baby.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Thanks for sharing that, Cindy. But yeah, so wow, we covered actually quite a bit in 30 minutes. What else, guys? What else is happening?
We're still waiting for our access for that new data entry.
Oh,
I know
Simpson.
Andra emailed Catherine a few weeks ago, but hasn't heard back. Should she just pester her again?
I'm happy to nudge her for you if you don't mind.
Because we're finally ready to start rolling over.
So there
Yeah,
was
we're-
turnover. So she's still working on it, but she's
Okay.
kind of like flying solo because that position, there was turnover there, and she's looking
Right.
to update
Yeah.
that job description and hire somebody new. So there is a little bit of a lag time, but I'll nudge her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
we're
you.
good.
Yeah, because I finally scared them when you said that the system we're using now wasn't TFAP friendly. So, um,
Yeah, because you're on Fresh Track, whereas SimC is TFAP attestation friendly.
right. So
Yeah.
I said
I remember
June was
'cause I
the
learned.
deadline. Yeah. So,
We're working on the next week and to get all our people in, and then we're going to go live. I have access to the live database that we'll be entering into. It ain't the prettiest system in the world, but Fresh Track was new and you just had to work through it and get used to it.
Fresh Track was much, much easier.
Well, yes,
Although I've heard that the new system is easier for inputting, but it's much more difficult to get results out of it, get reports.
Mhm.
well, I know that Catherine is working on reports, and she's going to be having a Zoom about reports sometime, July or coming up. It's going to
I
be
figured out how to get what I want, but it's
a pain in the
and
poop.
I've asked, every once in a while, I think 2 or 3 times now, I said, okay, now where do I find this? And somebody will tell me, and it's right there. But you just have to click and click and click and click and find it.
And like everything new, there's always that learning curve. I don't know if you guys saw it in my weekly email that just went out, but we have another website that's changing for you. So your grants management site, they
Oh, come on.
Oh, dear. I just got used to that one.
Go Hiss. Go Hiss.
so it's changing. And I will say that I got in there and I looked around and I watched the videos and I'm like, oh wait, this is actually for a good change.
okay.
It's more of like a website, user friendly, very similar to your how you remember pre P2 when your PWW was very databasey, and then we had that update, and now it's a little bit more bubbly and user friendly. It reminds me of that.
Okay. That sounds good then.
And it really highlights and identifies things a little bit more clearer. What we were finding is folks were having a hard time finding certain things. This really organizes it a little bit better. So that's coming up next week.
Will you be able to load up? The word escaped me. You know where they want you to upload a picture or this or that or the other thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're so huge. I've had to email it to you because it just wouldn't go.
Mhm.
Will you be able to do that?
So I
Wait.
don't know if any of the size of the uploads are changing necessarily, but in every application, we're trying to make sure that we put it in every application and every follow-up. There's instructions on how to go to a free website to compress files. And once you compress it down to, and maybe it's still too big, you can use that new file and compress that again. I had to take something that was like 25 megabytes and compress it down to 2, and I did it. I had to do it several times, but eventually I got it small enough to where I could upload it. So Bree has put those instructions in, and we'll make sure that we put them
Oh, good.
in other places.
So on this website, is that user friendly? It's like do this, do this, do this, do this.
Pretty much, it's a
Okay.
whole lot more It
It's
it
interesting
organizes
because
it in 2 spots for you. Yeah, go ahead.
it's interesting because it's the same program that a couple of the places I'm applying for grants to, it's the same program that they use as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so
So-
I got in, you get into one and it'll sometimes be the same thing.
Yep. So everybody, every community foundation, anybody that's using Found It is the technology. By sometime in August, we'll have this change. We're opting to do it now, next week, before any follow-ups are required from anybody, because now we're in between grant periods. We're not going to need anything from anyone until July, the end of June and July. So we wanted to make sure that we had it done, got everybody trained at a natural, somewhat stopping point in our grant cycle. Because the next big grant that's coming out is July 1st, and that's turkeys. But
Oh, yeah.
anybody that applied for OSCE, if they get awards, they're going to have to go in and sign that contract. So we were trying to find the best spot to put it. And actually, it's the beginning of June. We'll hold your hand, Pat. We'll hold your hand.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I can
Okay,
muddle through
we'll hold your
anything.
hand, Kerm. We'll hold your hand.
I mean, back in the olden days of
All mine.
Okay, Cindy, we got you too.
where'd she go?
She's running away.
The worst thing I ever did was
Right, turkey on my calendar for July
That's
1.
Oh, smart girl.
back in the days of floppy disks. The worst thing I ever did was I got the blue screen of death. I totally wiped everything out, but I found out you can put it back. So, I mean,
Yeah.
What the
let me
heck?
see if you guys- I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but this is what Bree got me.
oh, I like that. I like that word. Figure out.
Figure out.
Everything is figure outable. So this is one of our
That's the
mottos
word
here.
of the
is like,
day.
it may not be pretty, but we'll figure it out.
I
figure
like
out
that
more.
word of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, we were like a little taken aback when it happened. Right? I agree with you, Julie. The note from Tompkins is like a legitimate addition to the English language to the dictionary. We definitely should. When Bree and I first got the notification that it was changing, we kind of were taken aback because again, more changes. Because if you guys are dealing with the changes, guess what? We are too. But
Well,
then we
besides
actually
that-
saw it and we saw what the changes were, and we're like, this is doable. They're only changing your view, not ours. So ours is still ugly.
Who decides the changes?
That's a really good question. I know that Found It has this link in their platform that has like an idea box where and we've used it as we're working through a process, we put in suggestions like this would be so much easier if you had this. And we hear from you guys like, why can't you do this? We'll take that and we'll submit it to Found It. I think they took a bunch of the higher need stuff where they're hearing it from a lot of folks and then just decided to do a big update. But some of the things that they changed were definitely on our list. Like it would be so much nicer if this wasn't buried. Like how do you find one that came up? So let's pick on you, Pat. Let's say Nancy's in there trying to find an application from a grant from 3 years ago. Where can she find that? It's buried under organizations and then history.
Yeah.
It's just not right there at her fingertips. Now it's going to be a little bit more easier to find. Because that was a common one. We're like, where do I find this? Like, here you go. This is how you find it. So more changes, yay.
Kerm, something just popped in my head, which may be the only thing there. When I was talking to Kathleen, we run a report that we only run maybe once a year, and it's in conjunction with Toys for Tot. And in Fresh Track, you can run a report because they want to know ages and
Yes,
sex.
they do. Yeah.
Yes. And she said they don't have that report, but she's going to ask them to put it in. So
Well,
I don't know when.
Yeah, I've been using the ages for Toys for Tots. I've been using the ages that come through on the report already, and
Mhm.
that's been sufficient.
Okay. But does it divide it out by sex? Because they look at boys and girls' toys.
It divides it by sex.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know whether this new one does though.
Oh,
Fresh
no.
Track, Fresh Track did. I'm not
Yes,
sure about
Fresh
this
Track
new-
does. No, that's what I meant in this new Simpsy one.
This new one, I have not looked for that, to be honest, Pat. I just have not had to deal with that one yet, and so I haven't looked at it.
It's not there. Catherine
Ah.
knows it's not there. So she's going to
Okay.
request that you can search for this in the new system
Hmm.
for as a report.
Right, yep. Ah, good thought. Yes, it was. That's good. Got anything new for us, Amanda?
That's a good question. Let's see. Well, you know how I'm always stressing that OGS can come out and do a site visit on you guys at any time, and they'll probably give you like a 2 weeks heads up. We got the notification on Friday they're coming to see us.
Uh-huh.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
With as many people as they've laid off, they still have to get around and
They do. They have a lot of requirements. So
What's
yeah,
the
so
agency again?
Office of General Services.
Oh, okay.
So as much as we're like, you got to get this done, guess what? We always also have to, we got to get this done. We're in the boat with you. We're paddling along.
What do they
No.
look for?
Yeah. So sorry, Pat, what?
What do they look for at the food bank?
Ooh, so they're looking for a lot of different things. They're looking for bills of lading for TFEP product that we receive and making sure that all of our paperwork is in order. They're looking to make sure that we have TFEP agreements with all of you that are signed and are current. They're looking to make sure that all of the staff here have completed our civil rights trainings, just like you guys have to do it, we have to do it. They're looking at old site visits forms and making sure that we're doing our due diligence with conducting the site visit, making any recommendations as needed, and doing the follow-up site visit letter to all of you. So they're looking for that stuff. Yeah, lots, a lot of paperwork.
yes.
So, yeah. But it's usually a pleasant visit. They're here. We get everything ready ahead of time. We hand it over to them and like good to go. They pick like which agency and which year and date they wanted their site visit from.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have to go back into our records and because they just do like a spot check, but they tell us who to look at. So we pull that information for them. Yeah. Good fun. June 5th. What do we have anything else cooking, Bree? Yeah, other than that, all applications for OSCE have been submitted. None of you are on the review committee, but if you have applied, your applications are being evaluated at this time. We will meet on the 17th to make determinations for awards and we'll proceed from there. Yeah. It's just finishing up PIPNAP time.
Lots of applications this time.
65
65.
came in. 65 came in. So it's a couple less than last year. Still a lot of requests over what we have to award because the amount we have to award hasn't changed in forever.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been talking with the state reps about is trying to get that dollar figure up a little bit.
Yeah.
They recognize it, but
Exactly. And you know what? We didn't get an increase in the state budget this year. I am going to count my blessings that they didn't decrease it. So we're maintaining.
yeah,
So it's not
Do
a
we know
win-win.
yet?
Hmm?
Do we know yet what our funding will be for July?
Oh, for your like food grant?
Right.
I'm putting final number crunches on it to this week and sending it off to James. And as soon as he takes care of it on his end, you will have an award coming out. But awards won't be out until probably mid-June.
Okay.
Yep.
Trying to spend every penny of what I have left.
Please do. Please do.
Ours is usually gone in the 1st
Mhm.
month or two.
Yep.
Month especially, usually.
Anything else happening with any of you?
Did you see the new cart that I got from Broome County Health Department?
I did not.
I don't know if you can
Oh,
see it. It's a nice big 5-shelf cart that we put our produce on. And we
Okay,
can put it right up front where our clients come in and they can pick what fresh produce they want. And any of your folks in Tioga County that run food programs, I believe Devin is looking to work with folks in Tioga County. She still has some grant money left.
oh,
So Broome County Health Department. I can't think of her last name, but her first name is Devin. It's the Healthy Communities and Schools program.
do you have their
We-
contact information, Cindy?
I'm not an organized kind of person, but let me see if I
I was just
have
gonna say, if you've got it, you can send it to me and I'll make sure that Pat, Herm, and
um,
Jean Ellen get it.
let's see.
we've gotten that grant in the past from her, and
She's
They-
delightful to work with.
yeah, she's
Let me-
easy to work with, and it the even though you'd like to buy food with it, you can't do that. It has to
Well,
be.
she actually purchased that. I told her what I wanted, and she ordered it, delivered it, put it together.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We were able to get a big sign that we put over the so signage is the kind of thing that she will pay for, as well as carts, because we bought some shelves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. I think I'm doing it. Hold on. There's her, and it's there's her, and it's the Healthy Communities
And that's for anyone in Tioga County as well?
That's what she told me when we were sitting here on the floor together. She said she still had some money and she was looking for opportunities in Tioga County to meet with people that had, food programs.
Okay. So it's right in the chat, guys.
But she will pay for infrastructure, so those kinds of things are, if you've got, like
That's
shelving and
huge.
so forth that you need, that's the
Mhm.
kind of thing that she'll fund.
Yeah.
Right.
A slight topic shift, but because I want to make sure that I say something before the end of this call. Jean Ellen, I just put a check in the mail to you, and Pat Wolf, will you nudge Nancy? She owes me an agreement. Otherwise, you're not getting a check in the mail. Or maybe it's
I
you.
know that apparently she emailed me and said I guess it was set on the 19th, but she didn't open the email until last Friday. And it was supposed to be in yesterday.
So have her
So-
get it in.
Okay.
I got a check here waiting for you.
This is Janelle, is that new requirement, or is the requirement for a signed W-9 something new? Because we've never done
Yep.
that in the past.
Yep, it sure is.
What is that?
So a W-9 is basically it's just a document for the IRS that gives us as a food bank information on you as a vendor because we're sending you a check. So at the end of the year, if we have a current W-9 on your file here, you will get a 1099 to put towards your taxes if you need to.
So it's a
Interesting.
W.
But we
It's
are not,
interesting. A couple of the grant people have requested that as well.
Mhm.
It's a
and
W-9.
the
It's a W-9. It's and
Yeah.
I link a blank copy of it in that agreement, Pat and Jean Ellen. So it's right in there for you guys to fill out, save it, and send it back. But we have a whole bunch of new people down in our finance department, and they were discovering that we didn't have these for some folks. So, and I'm like, my God, I've never even known about this, and I've been here for over 7 years. I feel like for some agencies, their umbrella organization has changed. So even if we had an old W-9 on file, I think that information has changed. So it's not even current anymore. So we're just trying to get blanket updated W-9s from anybody that's getting a check from us. So if we're cutting you a check for HipNap, we'll be asking you for a W-9.
That's interesting. When we first got that request for W-9,
Mhm.
I'm saying, are you sure you want that instead of the tax deductible, thing? They said, yes, that's the one we want.
Yep, because
That's-
that form in turn issues another document. Whereas the other one that has your tax ID number tells us that you're eligible to apply. It's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Again, can we talk more about all the documentation and paperwork?
I'm not an accountant.
Makes me think about like Monsters Inc., where the lady's like, Mike Wazowski, you forgot to file your paperwork.
That's right.
Yeah.
I am here for this though. All
Lord
right.
love us.
All right, we're down to our last 9 minutes. Anything else that's hot topic or that you're just remembering to mention?
So it's only
Cindy's got company.
Yeah. She's busy.
You guys are so busy. I can't believe all the things that you all get done. It's wild.
We just got our
Um,
pantry repainted.
Somebody told me about that, and I asked. I was like, "Is it purple?"
No,
The answer was
no. We took a vote. It's a very lovely shade of blue.
Okay.
We did the ceilings, the trim. Between Ed and a couple of other folks, they did all the painting.
All right. Good enough.
So once we get that all done, then we're going to clean the floors good and repaint the floors. It looks so much better than it did.
It's funny how just like a fresh coat of paint will cheer up a space. You don't realize how dingy.
We're not even going to put curtains back on the windows because with
Good.
the color and the nice white paint trim around the windows, it just looks so bright in there.
I love that. I really love that for you all. That's great.
I'm going to go plant dahlias and zinnias out front of our pantry when I finish here.
We have gardeners.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, so do we.
Nancy Hayner is our gardener.
Nancy's a master
She's-
gardener.
She is. She has a greenhouse and everything. We just had a plant sale, garden plants 2 weekends ago, and we made over $300
Wow,
in donations.
good.
So
Outside of our
takes-
pantry is concrete.
yeah, you got to get flower pots.
We
She's
did
done
that.
a nice-
Yes, we did that.
We had for daffodil days. We had Ed planted daffodils all over the place, and everybody's daffodils were wonderful, but it really looked nice at the pantry. But yeah, she's quite the gardener.
Very cool.
Well, I don't have any more, and so I'm going to wind up leaving, please.
All right.
Okay.
You have a
Thanks.
good day.
You too,
Thanks.
Kurt.
We'll see you. Oh,
Probably
the next,
the only one out of the week. Rain and
Probably.
rain and rain.
the next open office hours is June 9th. It's a Monday at 4 p.m. I am going to be in Albany, so Sarah Keenan is going to be your guest host.
What is Sarah's title? Is she?
Programs and Partnerships Manager.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so she's supervising your PPC. So she supervises Devin.
Well, that's got to be a task and a half.
You have no idea. See you later, Kern. Thanks for hopping on.
All right. Bye-bye.
That's funny.
But that brings something to mind. When I was a kid in elementary school, one of those like English books that you had that like had all the little readings in it. The beginning of the book, there was a poem, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was mixing up the first letters of the word. So instead of daffodils, it was the daffodils are Dello. And something about measly or something, whatever. But it was like transposing the first letter, and I can't find it for the life of me. But
Did you Google it?
I have, and I can't find it. Oh, wait, I wondered, lonely as a cloud. I wonder if this is it. That's not it. No, I have not been able to find it. It was like weird, like I think first or second grade, like reading.
There's a comedian, and I cannot remember his name, but he's hilarious. I find him on YouTube all the time. He does this thing where he pronounces the letters that are silent in words. And it's hilarious to listen to him talk.
How does he say hors d'oeuvres?
Horsadubers. That's a well-known one. I can't, but it's hilarious, you know, because he goes through this whole spiel about why did we put those letters, which I have often pondered. Why did we put those letters in? You know, like neighbor. That's your neighbor.
Oh yeah.
But he just, it's hilarious. Think about that all day long when you run up across a word that's got a silent letter in it.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna start thinking about that today. That's gonna be my squirrely Amanda's not paying attention thought.
And if anybody calls you and say, Pat made me do it.
Pat made me do it. Pat, you are always giving me the most mischievous things. Well, before we go, I will say, Pat, Bree and I are now in our second bowling league. We finished out that first one over the winter. We both have bowling shoes and bowling balls. We be bowlers now.
I guess. Did I ever tell you my bowling story about Chris Decker, who works at the pantry? We conned her into bowling. So she happens to bowl on my team. And she hadn't bowled in years, of course. So she was talking to her friend, and her friend had a bowling ball and shoes, which actually worked for her. So one day she gets up there, she goes to bowl, and you know how when you go to throw your ball and you stop, it just throws you out of whack? Her sole fell off one of the shoes. It was that old. But the even funnier part was I had an extra pair of bowling shoes she could use.
Oh my Lord. I can't with you, Pat. I barely have extra shoes of any kind.
Oh, well.
It takes all kinds to make this world go round.
That's right.
And we make it the most fun. All right. Well, thank you for the laughs. And I will see you guys in about a month.
Okie dokie.
Not sooner. All right. Take care.
Be good.
You know it. Bye.
Bye.